Welcome boys and girls, Christine here with a discussion about the top 5 campaign starts in Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires. Starting at number 5, we have Grombrindal with his ridiculous level of power in a campaign. He starts a pretty decent army. He has Iron Drakes, he has Hammerers, he has Sharecopters with Brimstone guns, which is pretty good, and a Runesmith, so you don't have to waste a building slot in order to get the first one. You can instead get engineers if you want to, or unengineered tinkers then for the Dwarven Air Force, or you could go down the path of the Arms Forge in his initial tier 2 minor settlement. The hilarious part about Iron Drakes is they're really good in terms of auto-resolve, and honestly, one of the big benefits from for Grombrindal is the fact that he can recruit Quarrelers, the fact he can get Iron Drakes pretty quickly, does mean he can start steamrolling pretty quickly. You can get Fane very quickly in his campaign. He starts with Runesmith, or you could go down the engineering path. So you already have 2 choices available to you, or 3 choices really. You can go ground with regular Quarrelers, Dwarf Warriors. You can spice it up with just a full army of Iron Drakes and auto-resolve your way through everything, or you can go Air Force. That's one of the benefits. Another benefit with Grombrindal is the fact that his campaign situation is fairly clear-cut. Beat the crap out of Malekith after you've dealt with the Skaven. Honestly, you don't even need to destroy the Skaven completely, you just need to get a peace agreement with them to some extent or another, because your victory condition does require you to go deal with Malekith. And that is a ridiculous level of power. And then when you combine it all with Grombrindal's ridiculous blue skill line, as well as his special skill line, and the White Dwarf benefit, yeah, he ends up being pretty damn ridiculous. By the way, fun fact about melee defense leadership on that, they do count towards auto-resolve. So I'm not joking when I'm saying that Iron Drakes are ridiculously good in terms of auto-resolve. But another benefit with Grombrindal's starting position is the climate. Climate usually is tied to starting position. Crucially for Grombrindal, he has Frozen, Mountain, Wasteland. Now, a lot of dwarves do have Wasteland and Mountain, or all of them do, of course, but at least Mountain. But Frozen, not all of them do have that. So that means out of all the dwarves in the game, he and Malachi have a lot of climate potential, because you've got all of Norska, all of Nagrand, and Kislev, if you want to go down that path. Which means you have a tremendous amount of expansion capability in your campaign as Grombrindal, beyond the obvious fact that you could just confederate whoever you want. Whenever you're playing any other dwarf, it's generally a really good idea to get Grombrindal as your first confederation choice, but when you're playing Grombrindal, you can pick and choose. Go for Belegar for his special skill line, go for Thorgrim, a lot of heroes, double dip on top of the fact that you get heroes from victory conditions. Let me just put it like this. If you want to paint the map, the combination of things that Grombrindal has going for him does make him the best of the Dwarven Legendary Lords. Yes, even above Malachi. At number 4, we have Gorbad Ironclaw of the Greenskins, who starts with Black Crag and another minor settlement. It's a bit of a shame that he doesn't start with a tier 2 Black Crag. I think that would actually be more useful. But here's an interesting tidbit about Gorbad. If you play your cards right, you can actually confederate your initial enemy in the Scabby Eye, and even ally Scrag pretty quickly by giving him Bergvar. I mean, you don't necessarily care too much about it, and it is incredibly useful for Scrag. You also have Caracade Peaks pretty close to you, and so with that kind of combination, you can also get Caracade Peaks as a tier 3 settlement. It's no Tsar Nagrun, to be sure, on that subject, but when you consider the fact that you have multiple provinces that are very useful, you have natural allies, and you can vassalize Skarsnik pretty quick, confederate Skarsnik fairly quickly in the campaign, then this is a really good campaign start in a campaign. Again, I don't think his faction mechanics are that great in many ways, But it is absolutely an amazing campaign starting position. And you also have temperate climate. I wish Grom had temperate climate. Wouldn't that be nice, creative assembly? So yeah, your objective is to go invade the Empire. The way the campaign ultimately plays out for Gorbad, again, not the best campaign in the world, but he does have a lot on offer. This starting position is pretty damn sweet. Lots of different choices. Go north, go south, conquer the Badlands first, or go for the Empire directly. That is up to you. Regardless, many choices, many opportunities over here. Can be considered a bit slower, but once you get going, and you will get going, Gorbad is, let's just put it like this, he is ridiculously good. At number 3, we have Queek Headtaker of the Skaven. Now, Queek does start with a minor tier 2 settlement, which in some cases, for certain reasons, you might think that's a disadvantage, but in Queek's case, it is a huge advantage because the way Skaven take over settlements is they spend food in order to get them at a higher tier. And so that means that when you take over Caracasgal, which you certainly can on turn 2, when you do take Caracasgal in this campaign very, very quickly and efficiently, you can get it as a tier 3 settlement. And also, because of the growth your initial settlement has, you can kind of understand where things are gonna, what path things are gonna go down with Queek's campaign. Ridiculously so. He does have also a lot of chieftains from the beginning. Like, this is a guy who runs with a 5 hero stack from pretty damn early on in a campaign. And that is not a joke. That is not something anyone should underestimate in any situation. And then his campaign expansion is fairly natural. Go north, beat up everyone in your path, take Carrick 8 Peaks, make that your capital, and become the doom of the Badlands. Queek's campaign starting position, like, he has a bunch of settlements within short distance of each other that give him a ton of benefits. And he is one of the most dangerous legendary lords to actually fight in a campaign. And that's not an exaggeration, by the way. To give you an idea of how strong this starting position is for Queek, beyond the obvious benefits that Skaven inherently have. But I've played campaigns where this bastard could be at war with a dozen factions, and he was still winning. It took me sending my legions of troops in order to defeat him, and he gave me a hell of a fight, and that's under AI control. Now think of what a player can do, and you kind of understand why Queek's starting position is damn amazing. And to be certain, it is down to that starting position, because Carrick 8 Peaks is incredibly beneficial for Skaven, obviously. You might even have enough food to make it tier 5 when you capture it if you want to. You start with a good amount of money because you start with this structure right here. It might seem worth keeping along, but that's 3,000 cash if you destroy that particular building, so that is a lot of power. That's extra cash that you start your campaign with. That gives you a pretty damn big advantage compared to, well, essentially everyone else. So, yes, Queek does end up winning compared to so many different factions in the campaign. Very clear-cut path in his campaign in terms of what he wants to do. I mean, obviously, there's always different options. You can go for the Bog Mine right here if you want to pick a fight with Skarbrand for whatever unknowable reason. Well, you could just take Albraz if you want to. That is also an option. That is a viable path, or you could wait until later when you have enough food. You're also really good at navigating things here because, yeah, the swamp is not great for navigation unless you have the Underway, which Skaven do. All of these things end up giving Queek a pretty substantial advantage against everyone he's dealing with. And I do mean literally everyone. See, if I'm playing a Skarbrand campaign, I almost always want to ally him, because I don't fear many things as Skarbrand, but I do fear Queek. Like, there are certain legendary lords where fighting them in a campaign is brutal. You can think of Xiao Ming, you can think of Grimgor, and you can think of Queek. Those are, you know, the top 3 guys to really take into consideration. Maybe an idea for a future video, we'll see. At number 2, it is Morathi of the Dark Elves. Without question, Lokir has the single best Dark Elven campaign in the game, but Morathi's starting situation is ridiculously good. Lots of flexibility for Lokir, also some annoyances because of the pirates he starts at war with, the Vampire Coast he starts at war with. Morathi has no such problems. She starts at war with Dark Elves, she gets a lot of slaves, she gets benefit due to the Sinnelleos corruption she has. She's gonna be generating a lot of freaking money very, very quickly. She can get to tier 2 barracks pretty quickly, so that means she can get to master, again, pretty damn quickly in her campaign. And once she gets to tier 3, she's getting pretty much every single Dark Elven hero. And also, if you have Tides of Torment, you can also get Druki Anointed for the extra benefit they provide. There's a lot of power when we're talking about Morathi available through her starting situation. I mean, just the fact she gets an extra mage, extra mages really, just through her special skill line, right? Because she unlocks recruitment through the skill line right here, of it relatively early on in her campaign, and then she can recruit them in all provinces. Pretty damn substantial for a campaign start. But here's another important bit to think about with regards to the Dark Elves. I mean, you do have Astankia starting province, and she's very easy enough to defeat. But you also have the two lumber structures that are available there, and I'm pretty sure that does stack. That's ridiculously good. But on top of that, one of the benefits to talk about with regards to the Dark Elves is diplomatically, a lot of people dislike them, but it's not minus 100 aversion. So that means you have a lot of diplomatic potential with whoever you want to. Like, you want to ally Mazdamundi? Go ahead. You want to ally Astankia? Go ahead. Actually, hilariously enough, your short campaign victory conditions involve dealing with Hellebron. Yes, that's a bit annoying. I mean, you could make it your entire campaign journey to just conquer all of Nagron, and there's a lot of freaking benefits in doing so, like, layers of Claire Carand and Karen Carr if you get those specific settlements. There's, again, huge, significant benefits in Nagron. But one of the key benefits of Morathi is she can kind of sneak up on Lothern, because she can build a lot of armies very damn quickly. Dark Elves do have that economy, and just land with 2, 3, or more stacks in Lothern pretty quickly. And then without Tyrion to hold Ulthuan, it folds very damn quickly. Alfarian and Alariel are not going to be able to stop you. The only one who can potentially stop you is Tyrion, and good luck with that. It's also kind of hilarious to think about the diplomatic relations situation in a campaign. Also, you don't even need to kill Tyrion if you don't want to, though you do probably need a Shrine of Asuryan, really, because if you want to maintain some kind of deal, because, yeah, it is pretty important. Maybe they're setting the stage for what will come with regards to Lords of the End Times, but Morathi is ridiculous. She is the empire builder. Almost every race, or a lot of races, have some legendary lord that's really about building a massive empire. Lokir is not about that. He's about black arcs, he's about raiding, sacking, looting, and pillaging, really, as opposed to what Morathi does. Morathi, she can get along with a lot of people, except high elves, and, well, you kind of benefit a lot from conquering Ulthuan. She can ally Ordertide, she can accept high elves, she can ally the Castide or Disorder factions if you want to. And that is a really, really good campaign start. It is a bit of a shame that she doesn't have mountain, because she does have mountains to the west of her, but let me just put it bluntly, you don't really care about the Ashen Coast all that much. I mean, you can obviously conquer it, and I'd recommend doing so. Good way of getting an alliance with Mazdamundi right there, but you don't strictly need to do so. Lots of choice, lots of power, lots of flexibility, and a lot of that comes from her starting position. I have to say, back in Warhammer 2, her starting position in both Vortex and Immortal Empires was horrible. I never enjoyed Morathi's campaign in Warhammer 2. And right now, though, she's ridiculously damn good. And then finally, at number 1 is, of course, Tyrion. It's really hard to argue with this campaign start. You're very powerful. Tyrion himself is a monster in combat. You start with one of the best provinces in the game in Attain. You have a powerful economy, extra tradable resources, pretty important for High Elves in general with all their trade agreements. And the baseline roster of the High Elves is pretty good. And then when you add together all the different actions that Tyrion has gotten, he is ridiculously good. I'm not a big fan of this campaign, combination of victory conditions, situation of how High Elves work, but I would be lying if I wasn't saying that this is a ridiculously good campaign starting position. Not a ridiculously good campaign, certainly not number one. That title goes to Malachi. But this is about the best campaign starts, not the best campaigns. And it's really hard to argue against Tyrion having the single best campaign start in the game. Like, if you're someone picking up Warhammer free and have no clue whatsoever on how to handle it, I'd probably recommend this campaign as a starting point for many different reasons. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Christine here, signing out.